Ready? 3, 2, 1. Bid Nerds is live. Here we are. Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Bid Nerds, your daily nerd out on the most interesting cars on Cars and Bids and Bring a Trailer. My name is John Polnik. I'm your host, coming to you live from Las Vegas, Nevada. We're right on the Las Vegas Strip. I think we're one of the few live shows on the Las Vegas Strip, so that means we're probably the best one that there is right now. Michael Deeb, my partner right there, professional auction specialist. How are you today, Michael Deeb?
Good morning, JP. I have to tell you, it's very difficult to sit in this seat because my ass is so sore from the pounding it's taken this week. I am having a rotten week in picking winners here on Bid Nerds.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, you caught up a little bit. You got at least more than one W for the day yesterday. You want to go over yesterday's cars? So just so everyone knows, Michael Deeb and I have a little bit of a gentleman's competition going on. What we do here on this channel is we discuss our most favorite and interesting cars on Cars and Bids and Bring a Trailer, but we don't just discuss. We analyze the market, and we give you our predictions as to what those cars will actually hammer for when they come down the auction block. And one of us seems to be better at predicting these numbers than the other.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah, I'm throwing it down. I'm gloating while I can because it's usually short-lived, the ability to do so on this show, because Michael Deeb and I are usually neck and neck. But yeah, you're a bit off this week. I've been playing a little closer to the vest, though. So you want to go over yesterday's? Let's go over yesterday's bid predictions and see what the heck was going on. Which car do you want to start with first?
Well, we'll start from the top. JP doesn't know how to keep score because he actually won for you. Starting off with the 1991 Audi 200 Quattro. You and I both really like this car. I thought it might come in around 6,800. You came in a little under at 5,500. That car hammered and sold at $6,000, which I think was really well bought by the next owner. I think he's going to have a lot of fun for the money there. And you won that one.
It did have a whole lot of miles, too. And Michael Deeb, let's get your microphone up a little closer. You're getting a little soft on us today.
Sure,
on the
sure.
sound.
Thank you, JP.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries. So the next car was in the Bay Area, 2006 Ferrari F430 Spider with the much vaunted 6-speed manual. That car, interestingly, that car was only at like $170,000 when we were looking at it. I predicted $222,000. You came in under me at $215,000. That car sold $224,000. So I think you and I were actually both all over that one. Also really well bought and well sold. The next one was a 2012 Cadillac CTS V. It's interesting. We both kind of overshot this car. It looked so strong leading up to the close of auction at $65,000, and MSRP was 71 or 72. So I thought it might go over. I said 81,000. You simply took the under and 80,000. That car didn't go much further, and it sold for $69,500, not reaching the original MSRP, like you and I had suspected.
I actually got kind of excited about that CTS because of how enthusiastic you were for it. I would never have bid that high. I only did it bidding that high just from the sake of competition, kind of a Price is Right point of view. I really didn't think that car would get much out of the 60s. I would have been wrong there because it did go high 60s, but still, that car is very meh.
Yeah. Yeah, your instincts were correct. I read the tea leaves wrong. It just very hyped, and there were a lot of bids on it. Anyway, the next car was a 98 BMW M3 cab. Just a nice, no-nonsense, 100,000-mile cab that looked to be in very good condition with the Vader seats. I was thinking that car might bring 14,000. You were a little softer on it and said 13,000. You were right on the money. That car brought $12,775 and sold at the price.
For the record, I don't know if my number would necessarily be considered soft for a BMW E36 M3. I think it was just, I think you bid a little high on that one, and so I was certainly less aggressive than you. But that is all the money for an E36 M3 convertible. I mean, anywhere in that, anything over 10 is more money than these cars have seen for a while now. So they're definitely on the upswing if you can find a nice clean one. So Battle of the M's continues. What's the next one?
Yeah, and that one was clean. Despite the miles, it was very clean.
Yeah.
The next car was 88 M5. And what's funny is on our broadcast, I said that if Eric Miller was selling that out of Enthusiast Auto Group, I said a 60,000 mile car should bring $60,000. But I thought because this car had been Canada and back and had been to the UK and back, that it might stall out and be a great buy. So I said 50. You bet the over at 52, and that car actually brought $62,000. Meaning Eric Keller was right, my instincts were right, but my bid was way wrong. You tallied 4 wins for the day. The only thing I got was the Ferrari. There you go.
Interesting. It's interesting that that M5 went for $62,000, which happens to be how many miles the car had on it. So it was $1 a mile. So the guy should have just kept driving it.
Absolutely.
And he would have gotten more money. Yeah, yeah. There is one for sale on Craigslist somewhere right now that's got about 170,000 miles on it. It's a black-on-black car. And the ask price for that one, I believe, is somewhere in the 30 range. So it's interesting that, obviously low miles and a really nice restoration can bring you a lot of money if done right and advertised right.
Listen, yeah, you can spend a lot of money on those cars, but by and large, that E28 platform is a pretty bulletproof car. And I think that sort of helps with the legend of that early M5 is that you can drive those cars 200,000 miles and just keep driving them and just keep enjoying them. The driving experience is excellent and the build quality is excellent.
Absolutely. All right. So, time for the next set of cars. What do we get? Let's talk about the cars of today. We're talking about old news. Let's get current. What is going on? We've got some amazing cars to go over today. Let's get right to it.
Okay, so we're going to start on cars and bids. We're looking out of Miami, Florida. This is a 2011 Aston Martin DBS Coupe. This is the Carbon Edition. From what I could read, all that adds is a bunch of special cosmetic appointments, largely done in carbon. And, of course, the car is basically black on black. This car has just 12,300 miles. It's powered by a studly 5.9-liter V12. Sadly, this car only comes with an automatic 6-speed and not a manual transmission. The interior is called Obsidian Black. The exterior is called Carbon Black. This is a no-nonsense car with just a couple owners out of Miami, Florida. On 8 bids, which is not a lot of action, $62,000. So, has this car met its reserve? Do you think it's going to sell? And what do you think? What do you think, JP?
Well, I mean, Aston Martins sure are beautiful. You cannot help but just stare at these things. They're like a beautiful woman walking down the road. I mean, you just have to be attracted to this car. I am scared of these from a maintenance point of view. Everyone knows the horror stories. Doug DeMuro himself says they're great. He says he hasn't had any problems with his. Now, this is more of a top-of-the-line car. It seems like the Vantages and some of those less expensive Astons are kind of on an upswing. They really did bottom out for a while and were genuinely cheap. I mean, you could say the word cheap for a while, and now they're coming back up. This car, a DBS with all its whiz-bang awesomeness, do people have the money, and are they willing to spend the top dollar on what was an unbelievably expensive car to begin with? I don't know. Yeah,
that's the question. And what's interesting, the DBS, the V12, was probably somewhere between $250,000 and $300,000 car, and
that's what I'm saying.
8-9 years later, this car's not even going to bring 40 cents on the dollar. It's crazy.
That is the problem with Aston Martins. Have you driven a DBS? I've never driven a DBS. I've driven Vantages. I've driven DB9 and DB some of the other ones, but I've never driven the DBS. How sporty does this car feel? Because all of the other Astons, particularly, I'm going to just go with the Vantage and talk about the Vantage for just a second. This is not a Vantage, obviously, but when the Vantage came out, it was specifically brought to market to compete with the Porsche 997 version of the 911 at the time. And as great a car and lovely to drive as a Aston Martin Vantage was, it was no 911. And it just seemed silly that the two would be even in the same ballpark, because one was kind of a GT car and one was an actual sports car. This car being the DBS and being the sportier version Does it actually live up to the moniker of an S model?
No.
No.
No. These are Grand Tours.
Yep.
And so, if BMW doesn't make a coupe that works for you, Mercedes doesn't make a coupe that works for you, and a Jaguar's not enough, this is your car. If you want a Ferrari, but you're tired of crawling in and out of one, or they're too hardcore for you, then this is your car. This is a Palm Springs car, not a South Beach car, if that makes any sense. And so the DBS is kind of the turbo version. It's got more power, more grunt, a little bit stiffer suspension, but these are still comfortable, daily livable cars. But you get to brag about it and say, my car's got almost 600 horsepower.
This just seems like the ultimate poser car. I'm sorry, I hate to say it. It just seems like, all right, all this car is for show. It is not for go. I'm sure it's fun to drive, but it's I don't know. I can see why they depreciate so horribly.
I bet if you got to drive one of these to LA from Vegas, you'd learn to love it, because I bet it's super comfortable. And trucks going slow in front of you. JP, all you do is open the throttle another 25%, and you're by them. I mean, the car's probably fast as hell.
Effortless power. Yeah, I got to love that kind of GT car. But again, I mean, I guess for the money for that type of performance, that's great, and you're going to look great. And it really does make sense in Las Vegas, given that we don't really have any corners here. And if you want to show up to the valet with your best girl and hop out and throw the keys to the guy and have him steal your car like in the movies, then this is the car to drive. But all right, what's your bid, Michael Deeb?
So I'm a little soft on this car. I'm going to say $79,000.
All right, so we've got only 8 bids. It's at $62,000. It's in Florida. I don't like this car being in Florida. I can only imagine looking at this car closely is going to reveal some little issues here and there. Underneath, I don't know. What was your number?
79,000.
You think it's going to go up almost? Boy, that's almost a $20,000 jump in just 3 hours. I don't think it'll get that high. I'm gonna go 70.
All right, there you go.
All right, moving on. Next car.
All right, this is. I'm excited about this car. This is out of Seattle. Yeah, Seattle, Washington. We're looking at a 1983 Lancia Delta Integrale. This car is the Evo 1. So the car we looked at a while back was the Integrale 8 something, but this is the Evo 1 JP. This car is hot version. Turbocharged, I think intercooled. It's a 2-liter inline 4 that makes about 215 horsepower. It's all-wheel drive. This is an Italian rally homologation special. The values on these cars have gone crazy, but this one's got some miles on it. None of these cars were brought to the United States when they were new. So almost every one of these cars you see is some sort of gray market import. So the odometer in this is kilometers. It's showing 135,000 kilometers, which translates to about 84,000 miles. There is some wear and tear. The auction listing notes that there's some bubbling in the paint under the windshield, which would probably be a little bit concerning as far as investing big money in this. But I think because of the higher miles and the wear and tear, this could be a great value. So instead of being $80,000 to $100,000 car, somebody could buy this as a real driver's version and just enjoy it and not worry about it because it's not a show car. I just really loving these things. Probably gonna buy one of these days. This car's super cool. You can see sort of a Recaro style seat, heavily bolstered with Alcantara stitching, Momo steering wheel, 5-speed manual. I don't know. I can't say enough nice things about it. What do you think?
This car has Michael Deeb written all over it. I do love seeing cars coming out of the Northwest because I know exactly where this was photographed there in Ballard, Fisherman's Wharf. It's funny to see all the fishing nets in the background and stuff like that. That said, yeah, look how cool this car is. This has just all that neat Italian 80s machismo. I mean, this car has just so much cool, fun. Oh, my gosh. Look at that dashboard. Look at that thing. I mean, that is, come on, man. That is so Atari 2600. I love all the details going on here. The thing that's always kind of fun, too, I love mentioning this. I'll see if I can pull up the picture real quick. The Integrale has that wing on the back. And when we talk about an 80s car, I mean, look at this rear wing, guys.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah,
a painter?
hot.
Is that a skater boy painter's hat from the '80s? You know, when the bill is sticking straight up instead of straight out. It's not Frato brim. That's painter style. So like Porsche punks.
Yeah.
What a fun car. What a great looking car. The color combination is neat. And again, like you said, and we talk about this pretty often on the show, it's neat when cars come up that maybe aren't perfect. We like the cars. I don't know. It seems like, Michael, I think might even agree with me. We like the cars that aren't the perfect collector specimen because these cars are more likely to see asphalt. These cars are more likely to get driven, and these cars deserve to be driven and need to be driven. They need to be seen on the road, not in a museum.
Yeah, I love for the photos. He took that little wing and he increased the angle of attack.
It does. I got to tell you, it does look like something that should go up and down. On a modern car, you would expect it to go up when it needs to and then go back down. So now it's basically just adding drag coefficient most of the time. You know, get that down for us, I suppose. All right, what a cool car. Sitting at $30,000 with about 3 hours to go. I'm not quite sure how many bids so far. What is your bid?
Yeah, so this is interesting. So at $30,000 on about 10 or 11 bids, the car I think is going to sell. I think probably just breaks 50,000. I like this car. I still think it's a great value. Again, Evos and Evo 2s are the ones that people want because they're over 200 horsepower. And these cars, take to modifications. Coilovers, strut tower braces, bigger turbos, bigger wheels. You can throw the whole catalog at these cars. There's a ton of aftermarket for them. So I think $52,000 could be realistic for this car, and I believe in it.
All right. Well, I certainly think it's fantastic. I love your enthusiasm for the car. I love that the car exists. I want to see someone drive it. I'm going to say 45.
All right.
Okay, moving on to the next car. What do we got, Michael Deeb?
So, JP, we are going to have a Bid Nerds premiere, and we are going to stray from Bring Trailer. We are going to stray from cars and bids, and we are going to take our first step onto the P-Car market platform. We're looking at a 1997 Porsche 993 Carrera with just 21,000 miles. And JP, truth told, the only reason I picked this car is because I friggin' love that light yellow paint job. All black Carrera 2, no nonsense in this sort of pastel yellow. My first experience with a BMW M3 is a test drove a 95 that was called Dakar Yellow, which is similar to this. It's a sort of a faded or a lighter yellow, not
Canary.
A bright Ferrari, not a bright yellow like Ferrari yellow or fly yellow.
Flyer speed,
anyway, this car just drove me nuts. Apparently, Zymol, the car shine company, owned this car, and they used it as a show car. I guess as they took it to events and did demonstrations on it. So the car's probably got 16 layers of wax on it. Probably that paint job shows up better in person. Allegedly, they changed the exhaust to a B&B, which probably gives it a great sound. And it has Bilstein coilovers. Those are the only two modifications. And apparently the original springs and shocks and the original exhaust are included with the sale. Out of, where did I find this car? Holy mackerel, let me look at my notes, JP. Out of Brooksville, Florida, this car on 21,000 miles is sitting at about $67,000, which is quite a handsome price. Actually, it's already moved up, so it's at $71,000 with 3 hours to go.
Usually I hate cars out of Florida, but this one is not one of those. This car does not look like corrosion is an issue. Looking at the pictures underneath it, looks like you could eat off the bottom of this car. That's amazing. I am not in love with the color of this car. This canary Tweety bird yellow thing, I think it's cool. It's neat. You don't see a lot of them, so in that respect, it's great that it exists and that it's out there. And I think it would definitely get a lot of attention at a PCA event. But the color just seems I don't know, but that's a personal thing. I'm sure there's probably a lot. Most people probably don't agree with me and love the fact that this is such a rare color.
I know you owned a kind of school bus colored 914 that Mikey Hashtags is now rocking. That's his Porsche whip. But have you owned a bright yellow car in your arsenal of cars?
I never have, and I've come close multiple times. And I would I love the whole that fly yellow or speed yellow, the yellow that looks like the Ferrari yellow. I think that's the specific thing that I don't like about this canary yellow, this Tweety Bird thing. It looks to me like it started out as fly yellow and just faded. It's a very feminine color, I suppose. I think this is the perfect 993 for the lovely lady in your life. This car. I can't say anything bad about it. The car, and I would drive this. I would rock this. I wouldn't care that it's a color that I don't exactly like. It is a what year is this one? 96. 97. Okay, so it does have the secondary air intake. So there's a couple little things that you got to watch out for on these. It probably will fault, especially with the low miles on it. This car has probably not been driven hard, which means it's probably got a lot of carbon buildup in there and stuff. If it was a company car and nobody really thrashed it, so stuff didn't get blown out. So that's going to be a $4,000 or $5,000, maintenance item to deal with at some point sooner than later if you do drive the car. But at that point, who cares? I mean, where this car, a 20-something thousand mile 993. Other than that, these things are unbelievably reliable with suspension, with the PSS 9s on there from Bilstein. The car is sitting at the absolute perfect height with a Billy Boat exhaust. It probably sounds magnificent. This car is basically the perfect 911. This is as close to.
I agree.
I mean, those are the mods you want to do to it.
Yeah. Now, JP, I know you and I are kind of starting out. We've only been doing this really for a couple months, but we haven't reviewed just a basic 993 C2. Like this is like, I don't know, like you said, it's like the perfect air cooled 911. I love this thing.
It's the best car that Porsche really ever made. I mean, it is the air-cooled car in its last iteration. Sure, the turbos have more power, and you could start talking about all the special ones, but from the regular Porsches that the average 911, this is the best configuration you can get in an average type setup. Totally.
And with suspension, you can make this car handle like it was made by the gods.
Yeah, and it already has it. I mean, PSS 9s and a strut tower brace. I mean, you could start getting cute and throwing, drop links and sway bars and all camber plates and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, you would absolutely make it better. But I mean, the great thing about this car too is the way it's set up right now. You drive it every day, drive it to it'll clear speed bumps. It's going to go through the parking lots. You're not going to feel like you're driving a total race car. Like mine is on the KWs, and it's pretty compliant, but it's low and it has all those other suspension components. So it feels like you're driving something. Yeah. Anyways, I think we both agree that this is one of the best cars you could possibly get if you want a air-cooled 911. What is your bid?
Yeah, so I love this thing, JP. Stainless steel exhaust pipes, motor sound package, limited slip differential, automatic brake differential, heated seats. This is pastel yellow. I love this thing. That being said, P-Car struggles sometimes to sell cars, which is really interesting. So that being said, the value on this car, I think, is right around $80,000 to $85,000. I think I had written 80. I might regret, but I'm going to go up to $80,000 as my bid for this car.
Yeah, I'm not a believer in this platform. I think this thing is heading to the deal tank. I'm curious to know, it probably has an absurdly high reserve because P-Car Market, unfortunately, the problem with this platform is they let people do whatever the hell they want when it comes to reserve. This car could have a $100,000 reserve, and that would kind of make sense for a 20,000 mile 993. I could see him going, it's going to be everyone in the world's going to want this. If it were on Bring a Trailer, it might get that. I mean, that could happen. P-Car Market, I don't think so, man. So. Yeah, I'm sorry. Where is it sitting at right now? I don't even like their layout. Their user interface just sucks. I'm trying to find
71,000.
71,000. And how many bids have they had? Oh my God, this is just awful.
I counted last night 17 bids, and it's moved up. So I'm guessing it's right around 20 bids. So it's got some action.
Yeah, I say it goes $5,000 higher than where it's at right now, maybe.
Oh,
So,
wow. Cool.
yeah, I think it's. I just don't think there's. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. This interface sucks. The platform sucks. So I want to see them guys. I'd like to see P-Car Market do better. I'd like to see them be a player, but I just think of them as frankly ridiculous.
Yeah, platform needs an overhaul. I agree.
Yeah.
So I'm betting 85. JP's betting $76,000.
Yeah.
All right.
On a different platform, it should be worth way more than that.
Agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So let's go to a different platform. We're going to jump back over and bring a trailer. And John, you picked a really cool. I actually had to look up a 1988 Saab 900 Turbo SPG 5-speed. And SPG is Special Performance Group. Am I saying that correctly?
Correcto.
Yeah, there we go.
That is correct.
Really cool car out of Palm Springs. Really cool car out of Palm Springs, California. This is a coupe with just 58,000 miles on it. Turbocharged 2-liter inline-4 with a 5-speed manual. It's black with a dark gray interior, and the SPG has those really cool and very Saab-specific 3-spoke alloy wheels. Those are not hubcaps, and it's got the body cladding and like the front air dam. This is a very modern-looking car in the 80s, and apparently it has a little more horsepower. Can you speak to that? Do you know how much faster this car was?
The SPG setup was definitely a sportier version. It was kind of like, call it like an M version. If BMW had a 3 Series and then they had their M3, the SPG was sort of like that for Saab. These cars are so much fun to drive. This is one of the few front-wheel drive cars that I would love to own. I'm going to go back here and show this. This picture really doesn't show the windshield very well, but if you look at the top of your screen, you look at the curve of that dashboard. That is not because this is a wide-angle lens. One of the things that's really cool about being in the cockpit of one of these, and it is a Saab, so they were born from jets, hence the cockpit thing, is that glass just wraps around you. It has this curved feel to it that is not unlike a 911 being inside of one of these. It is just the engine sits very low and very far back in the engine compartment, so the car has a very low center of gravity. It has a nice polar, it's balanced very well, and the engine is literally slanted. It's a 4-cylinder, and it's in line, but it's not straight up and down. It's literally kind of like sitting sideways. That way they could get it to sit lower in the engine cabin. Really, really neat engineering stuff that Saab did with these cars. They feel like they're chiseled out of a hunk of steel. I've told the story before that I bought one of these back in the 90s from a stripper, and the car had 130,000 miles on it. It needed a clutch. It barely ran. I took it to my mechanic, and he told me that there was zero maintenance ever done to this car. This car had never seen an oil change. With 130,000 miles on it, never seen an oil change. He did all the maintenance. He did a tune-up, changed the clutch, put oil in it, and it drove like brand new. That is a testament to these cars. Lots of glitter all over the place. We couldn't do anything about that, right? Now, this car, I really want this car. I've been actually searching for one of these for a while, but the problem with them is they have been cheap forever. They just haven't been an expensive car in ages, and there are no clean ones. I mean, seeing a low mileage one like this one, I haven't seen one. Usually they have 300,000 miles on it. So finding one with 50-something thousand miles. And, I mean, it's already sitting at $20,000. Nobody has seen $20,000 for a Saab. What's that?
I know. So, on 21 bids. And the Saab community has been all over the comments on this car, too. There's a lot of support and admiration from the Saab community that still exists underground in this country.
Keep in mind one of the things that's a little difficult. I mean, obviously this is an older car. Their parts are going to get really, really difficult to find for these. The transmissions are fantastic when they work, but they are known to blow up. The 5-speed manual and the automatics can go ahead and give up the ghost, and that is a very expensive repair job for relatively. I mean, it's not as expensive as, say, an Aston Martin, but to find someone that's going to be able to even do it is going to be a trick these days. 58,000 miles. Right. Hopefully, that's not something that you're going to have to deal with for a long time. But oh man, I get so excited over this car. I would love, and it's the perfect color combination too. Yeah, they did make these in speed yellow, Michael D. That was one of the cars that one of the few yellow cars I almost had. Okay, what's your bid?
So here's the thing. This car costs $26,432 brand new, and it's already at $20,000. And there's a lot of love on this thing, and it's on Bring a Trailer. You and I had fun reviewing that convertible a few weeks ago. I think this car is going to bring sticker. My bid is $26,500.
Nice. That's a great way to look at it. I should also add that the first couple of years, 88 and 89 of the SPGs are probably the best years to get. As you got into 90, 91, 92, I think they made these into 93, probably in the convertible at least. They started to add a lot of extra stuff. That was the era of airbags and analog brakes and traction control and stuff like that, and a lot of those things were very problematic. The speeds were, not a lot of jets with analog brakes, so that was something that they were having a hard time integrating with, and airbags. So those things really caused problems in the later versions. So this first couple of years of the car in its simplicity form is absolutely the one you want to get. I am seeing some sky in this car. I love that it's on Bring a Trailer. I hope that whoever gets it drives it. As I know I sound like a broken record. I'm gonna go 30 and say this has potential to go another 10 from there. I could see this car getting really close to 40, but I'm gonna go the over on you.
All right, very good.
That would be a world record too. That would be, and everyone's gonna be searching for these, and that means I'm probably never gonna be able to get my Saab 900 again.
Yeah, that'd probably be the highest price for a Saab, wasn't a Wagon.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. What's the next car?
All right. We're gonna.
Oh, you know what? Actually, hold up.
All right, last car of the day.
Hold up, Michael Deeb. Let's do a shout out to our sponsor. Christmas season is coming up, and we're talking to guys that have all the coolest stuff right now, right? I mean, you have the cool cars, you have the cool watches. Well, why not get something that matches your car or your watch? Get yourself or get that guy in your life a Guy's Customs bracelet. Look at this bracelet. We took this shot in a Ferrari 812 super fast. I just love saying super fast. Look at that. Those are two different bracelets. One of them is it's the Guards Carbon PTS. So that's the red one with the titanium and carbon fiber bead. That is a paint to sample bead that's painted to sample that Guards red from Porsche. And then the other one that's all black with the titanium and the carbon fiber is the Carbon Murder. You can order these custom. You can get paint to sample for your car. It doesn't have to be Guards red. You can, if you've got lizard green or some other color, just send them the paint, the year, make, model, and paint code of that car, and they'll figure out the paint code if they need to. If you can't find it, and they will make beads that are specific to your car, or match them to your specific watch. If you have a Patek Philippe or a Rolex or something like that, and you want the beads specifically to match that watch, they'll design one custom for you. Guys Customs, check them out on Instagram. That is the only place to get one of these. You have to order everyone custom. They hand make them right here in America. They're designed by women, so you don't have to ask your girlfriend if they're cool, because they are. There it is. Go order your Guys Customs bracelet today. Okay, let's get back to the cars, Michael Deeb. How cool are those Guys bracelets?
Yeah. Shout out to Guys Customs. Thanks for sponsoring us. We really appreciate you guys. Good luck this holiday season. All right, last car of the day on Cars and Bids, a 2007 BMW 328i wagon with a 6-speed manual. This is an E91 wagon platform. It's rear-wheel drive, not all-wheel drive like those silver sedans you find in the Pacific Northwest that are just a steal. JP, what year is your new BMW?
So I have a 2006 325.
Okay.
XI sedan.
Right. So this car has a 3-liter inline 6. Yours is a 2.5. Is that correct?
Yeah, so it's basically, I mean, it's very similar. It's basically the same damn car. Actually, no, mine has a 3 liter as well. It says it's 325,
Oh, it does, yeah.
and so yeah, BMW
So
started screwing. Yeah, it's the same car, 328 and a 325. It's the same damn thing.
yeah. Okay, so you have an all-wheel drive sedan. This is a rear-wheel drive wagon, basically with the same drivetrain.
Yeah.
Super cool car out of Fort Worth, Texas. I love the black on black. I love the little wagons. 130,000 miles, 6-speed manual, jet black with black interior, clean title. There you go. I mean, no nonsense. This is a great car, great value with probably a little bit of life left. This car is already sitting with about an hour to go at $8,000, which isn't that like $1,500 more than you paid for your car?
Yeah, I mean, look, these cars, why would you get a stupid crossover? Why would you get an X3 or an X1 or even an X5 when you could get something like this? These cars are, again, we were just talking about the Saab, how there was some simplicity in the early years of the SPG model. It seems like BMW has really lost its way with its modern cars. They've gone to these little teeny turbo engines, and everything is super complex. This car is the last of the minimalist design that BMW was going with in this era. Yes, it has a lot of the modern creature comforts. Yes, it has traction control. Yes, it has analog brakes. Yes, yes, all the things that you would expect in a modern car. But it really is the most minimalist version of a modern car that you can get. I love this thing. These are notorious for going 300,000 miles. This powertrain is very, very reliable. It has a couple of issues, like the coolant tubes are notorious for going bad, but we're not talking about things that are like hand grenades, like an IMS bearing in a Porsche that will blow the engine up. There's just a couple of maintenance issues that if you take care of, this car will be good to you forever. Yes, I have one. I didn't go out and get it on purpose. It was one of those things where I kind of just wound up because I've always loved them, and sure enough, we're sitting on these sites. But look, there's a drive going on here in Las Vegas this weekend. We're going to go out to what's the Death Valley, right? We're going to go out to the California border. It's mostly going to be a bunch of Porsche guys. It's going to be very cold this weekend, especially out in Death Valley. So I was considering bringing my 993, but the 993 is a convertible. I could put the top up and go do that drive. It's about it's going to be about a 500-mile round trip, so it's going to be all day this Saturday. I don't know if I want to do that in the 993. My 997 is the car that I would bring, but the 997 is in the shop having a couple little things done to it. Nothing's wrong with it. It's just getting some service, and it's probably not going to be done by Saturday. So I'm sitting here going, oh, well, I can't go. And then I'm going, wait a minute. I have a BMW 325 manual 6-speed. I can go on this drive with that car. And I started asking myself, is that car as good as a 997? I don't know. We're gonna have to make a video about that. But look, this car with all the utility that you got in this thing. Look, you can sleep in the back of this thing. You can load groceries or whatever your dog without having to lift it up because the wagons are lower to the ground. These SUVs are too high off the ground. You're always like lifting stuff up and dragging stuff out. Nobody needs a 4-wheel drive SUV. Get the wagon with a 6-speed manual. You're going to have fun and the utility. I love this car from a utility point of view. I'd say I want it, but I already kind of have one.
I know. And this car is so much more you than the BMW you bought. This is black on black.
Yeah.
Rear-wheel drive. It's pretty funny. And this car looks sick with some big wheels on it.
Yep. And a roof rack. Got to put a cool. It's got a roof rack. I mean, it's got the rails.
It's got
but if
rails.
you put a cool cargo basket on the top of this thing, that would look pretty dope.
Yeah.
Pretty dope. Yep. All right. So it's less than an hour to go. We're already $8,000. 7 bids. Not a ton of bids. Not a ton of action. I think if this car were to bring a trailer, it'd be doing a lot better. I don't see a ton of younger BMW enthusiasts on this platform. The fact that this is a wagon, I think, helps because it's a little bit older crowd here, and that older crowd might see this car as a utility car that they can have fun with. What's your bid?
So I think this car is going to bring $9,000.
Yeah, okay. I think that's pretty safe. It's been about 3 hours since there's been any bids. I'm hoping that this thing takes off, but I'm going to go the under and go 8,900. I could see it going for well over what you're saying. Unfortunately, I think Cars and Bids might be the wrong platform. This BMWs with manuals have not typically done super well, and I've seen some really, really cool manual BMWs on this platform. They don't.
Yeah.
This platform seems to do really well with manual Porsches. We love that. It does really well with Land Cruisers and stuff like that. But for some reason, BMW Love not so good on this platform. All right. So have we covered all the cars today?
We have, and I have a question for you as we close up today.
All right.
Of the 5 cars we looked at, which one's your favorite? What's the one that you'd want to take? I think I know what your answers would be, but which one of those 5 was your favorite?
Unequivocally, the Saab 900. I mean, it's just.
I knew it. I knew it.
I mean,
and it's funny because I was in love with that Lancia Delta, but man, not Porsche. I know you think that pastel yellow is a girl color, but I love the thing. I actually think I would choose the Porsche as my pick of the day over the Lancia Delta Integrale. Anyway, there you go.
Some amazing cars today. I really like the lineup. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on your daily nerd out on the most interesting cars on Cars and Bids and Bring a Trailer. My name is John Polnik, along with my partner, Michael Deeb, over there. We thank you for joining us every morning around the 9 o'clock hour. It just kind of depends on how all the internet gizmos work. Make sure you go out to guys_custom, that's GYX_customs, and get your custom-made bracelet for your Christmas gift or get one for yourself. And thanks again for joining us. We will see you tomorrow. Michael Deeb, anything else you want to say before I hit the final button? And our producer Patootie says goodbye too. Look, she's got a Christmas.
Yeah. I don't know if you've been watching the news, but you and I were supposed to be in a car on the East Coast in a Mercedes 201 driving across the country. And I don't know if you know this, they are having like the worst winter storm yesterday and today they've had in a decade. So you and I dodged a bullet. So be safe, everybody out there.
All right, guys. See you tomorrow. Thanks for joining.